Hey there. Thank you so much for your interest in being a reverse pitch presenter at WaterPitch, the water startup matching extravaganza. We're getting ready for our third annual WaterPitch event and want to share with you a little bit about what we call the WaterPitch experience. So, let me share my screen really quickly. Here we go. Okay, so the WaterPitch experience, what this is, our goal is to really build a cohesive water entrepreneurship community and a one-stop shop event, right? With startups in the middle. This is not your typical water tech expo or technical conference where you've got the focus is on the big dogs, the big tech firms, the big utilities, the big equipment vendors, and then you've got some startups on the side, right? Here we put the startups front and center, a wide range of startups, combined with what we call the Show Me the Money groups, the VCs, the angels, the corporate venture partners, the foundations and federal funders that are funding innovative approaches to water, as well as clients. We have two voice of the customer sessions planned, one for water sector and one for industrial, commercial, consumer facing, residential, a wide range of markets for water startups, recognizing that, sometimes utilities take a little longer. Maybe they want to start in the private sector, and then startups might start in the private sector and then move over to utilities over time. And then finally, the wonderful entrepreneur support organizations, programs like accelerators, incubators, clusters, innovation hubs, you name it, however you want to call those. And we're really bringing them all together, connecting with the startups as well as each other, what we call pipelines and pathways within and across the different elements within the water entrepreneurship community. On-ramps and off-ramps are also a term we often hear that we'll make sure that we include a range of different types of investors at different stages, of support organizations at different stages and whatnot, so that people can really get an understanding, the startups can get an understanding of what to do now and into the future. Now, let's talk real quick about the program. So here's a program at a glance. I'll get into these a little more closely so you don't have to squint to see them. But as you can see, we really, put this together as a cohesive 3-day program, starting after lunch on Tuesday the 18th and going through the morning of the 20th. But the main day is right there in the middle. So again, let's start with the 18th. From 1 to 5 p.m., we have what's called Prep Day. And we actually start working with the startups well before this. We're having virtual pitch prep and practice sessions. We're helping them come up with one-liners with short descriptions, helping with some of the marketing. Yeah, as you are maybe aware, a lot of people working in the water space, they either go way too broad and say, oh, water's life, we're important because water is life, or they get way too specific of, arguing about whether you should be doing batch processing or continuous processing of data or whatever, right? What are the things that we can do to help them come up with a good solid XYZ statement or one-liner that really gets to the point. Also on that prep day, we are having expert clinics on specific topics related to to being a water startup or supporting a water startup. And as a reverse pitch presenter, you are more than welcome to come to those. We're going to be announcing those very soon. We also have a media room this year, and we have some plans in the works for a couple of top water entrepreneur podcast hosts to be with us as part of the program, as well as doing interviews throughout the event. And then finally, after prep day, we're getting everyone together at DC Water. We're going to walk over to one of the fantastic restaurants there are right there in that waterfront area. If you've never been to DC Water's HQO, it's a gorgeous area. It's right near the ballpark, the Nash Stadium. And so we'll have a presenter's dinner. Of course, you're welcome to that. So again, the main day, that Wednesday, the 19th, that is pitch day. And we do ask people to plan to stay the whole day. Don't just pitch and run if at all possible. So the whole day is alternating between sessions of startups and startup pitches and reverse pitch sessions. So the reverse pitches, the investors, federal funders and foundations, what we call the other FFF. When people are done with friends, family, and fools, they go with federal funding and foundations. And then the water and industrial, commercial, or consumer-facing clients, and then the entrepreneurial support programs, Imagination, Xylem Innovation Labs, the Brew, et cetera, et cetera. As far as the startup, so our goal with the startups is all startups, all solutions, all stages, all sectors, right? And we really divided those and we put them into themed sessions. One of the things we see at a lot of events is kind of random acts of pitching, or it's just whoever happens to be in that accelerator on a demo day or something, right? And there isn't really much of an understanding of which ones do what kind of water for whom, right? And so, we do some sorting. And so we have room A, that's what we call the big markets. That's the industrials and water and wastewater and environmental remediation. That's, municipal wastewater, stormwater floods, emergency response. And then water supply infrastructure and drinking water, reuse, all that goes in there. And then the smaller markets, the point of use, consumer focus, residential, global wash, workforce, environmental justice, contracting and billing. Some of that is also related to the utilities, but a little different aspect of working with the utilities. And then you got food and beverage, aquaculture, recreation, climate and sustainability, ecosystem restoration, oceans and maritime, hydropower. So we're really running the gamut. And again, sometimes the technology itself might apply in one sector first, as a point of entry, as a way of getting some initial revenue, and then there may be interest by the larger utilities or the larger corporations. So we are building a cohesive water entrepreneurship community by bringing all these together. Now, among the startups themselves, everyone gets time to present, and they're all following a similar structure. So we want to make sure that it's really easy to find the information you need. We have pitch and reverse pitch, virtual and on-site coaching for quality control, and we also include time for Q&A. And like I said, this is just an example that I put together. The many, many, many different ways in which we can think about water challenges and the areas where we have solutions. It's not just water and wastewater. It's not just global wash. These are the things that people outside of the water sector tend to think of. And you're just talking about utilities. I don't work with utilities. I'm not interested. This is part of why we've got only, less than 1% of all climate tech and all climate investment is going to water startups, right? Because there are those assumptions, but we need to remind people that water is part of so much more. Let's see. Okay, and then we've got the reverse pitches. So these are the reverse pitches. And the timing, by the way, please recognize they might not be locked in stone. If we need to do some shifting as we get closer to the event, we'll let you know. But basically, in the morning, we're going to have the voice of the customer client reverse pitches. And so if you're an investor or an accelerator, you probably want to hear those. And then in the afternoon, we've got, right after lunch, we've got the investors and the funders, what we call the show me the money folks. And then close up the end of the day with the entrepreneur support program, followed by our grand finale, where we have our best pitch awards, and a little bit about the future of water entrepreneurship, followed by our receptions. Please do stick around for that. And like I said, on ramps and off ramps and getting everyone together. We've got lots of times for people to really connect with each other throughout the day. I'll talk more about that later. But just a few of the folks that have already confirmed, and we are right now in the process of switching things over from the website that we've used the last couple of years to a brand new event app. So we're putting up those profiles as they are confirmed. But really a wide array of folks are going to be joining us. We've got Techstars, we've got Veolia, we just heard from Xylem, we got to wait for their final confirmation on that, but it looks like they're coming. Swan is going to be there, and a number of others. Okay, let's get to policy day. So if you're able to stay until Thursday, and remember, this is President's Day week. So if you want to come in early and enjoy the sites on President's Day, and then join us on Tuesday. That's great. And if not, then just come on Tuesday, and if you can, stay to Policy Day. We're still looking for a place to get folks together for a quick breakfast and just kind of like a 101 on what do you do when you go into a congressional office, or when you sit down with a regulator. It's so important for people to understand that this is, these water related industries are often so driven by both regulation, new requirements, new permitting requirements, new deadlines, and other incentives. So new findings from federal labs, new funding that comes out of the agencies, right? So to have this opportunity to have a congressional briefing, we have talked to Friends on the Hill to get a room set up for us. And so we're going to work with a few of our startups from last year to make sure that they're ready to do pitch. We are want to point out we are a 501c3 educational organization, so nonprofit. We are not telling people what positions to take or any of that kind of stuff. And remember, here in DC, we also have, we've got Congress, we've got the agencies, we've got Embassy Row, we've got, and all those embassies and consulates, they have trade rep offices. So if you're thinking about going international, that's available to you. If you're thinking about working with the World Bank, the IMF, a lot of these big non-governmental organizations, those are also available here in the area. So there's a lot you can do to take advantage of this opportunity. When you come to DC, if you can stick around, we'd love to have you, and we're happy to work with you on, again, we're not going to tell you what to do. We're not going to give you a policy sheet and say that. We're going to, we can help you generally with, what do you say, or what do you put in a one pager? How do you make an appointment? Those sorts of things. And we are going to be at DC Water's HQO. This is a gorgeous event center. That's where their boardroom is and their executive functions, but it's also a space that they rent out through their nonprofit Blue Drop to weddings, to conferences, to all sorts of things, right? So it's a really nice event space. We'll have the boardroom as our room A. We'll also have a second room for the smaller market ones, and then these other rooms over on the side. We've got a couple of rooms for the clinics and for private meetings those can be reserved. And then we have a media room. So that's going to really help for those who want to do interviews. And we are going to be reaching out to more media. Now, some other aspects you might want to know about the program. This is not fire hosing people with this, every second scheduled, right? And like as you saw above here, it's a very intimate space, right? So everything is right up and down this hallway here. We've got some room for about 10 on-site exhibits. But people are going to be going back and forth through that space. If people want to go downstairs to the lobby or up to the rooftop or something, if they want to have a private conversation, have a smoke, whatever, that's an option. But mostly people are going to be right there. You're not running from building to building, right? And a lot of the folks, it can be very intimidating as a startup to walk up to someone who is with a big company or who's a big name investor, right? So we do as much as we can to really get people comfortable, to facilitate introductions, those sorts of things, right? But we also have extensive breaks. And again, you're not having to run from building to building. So that's plenty of time, 15 minutes between sessions, time to connect, time to start setting up follow-up meetings, right? You've got best pitch voting after every single pitch, and then they'll get the results. And there's a space in there. I don't know if you can see that, but there's a space for comments. So it's not just throwing out numbers, right? You can actually put in some feedback, and then you also have that option. It's anonymous. Your votes are anonymous, but if you want to put in, I'd really like to talk to you. Here's my contact information. You have that option. And by the way, the the quality of the program, both for the pitch and reverse pitch. We do a lot of work before the event with virtual pitch prep and practice sessions, as well as on-site presentation coaching on prep day. And then we've got, the presenters dinner and the on-site exhibits, and we've got sponsored breaks, and we've got, reception for the lunch. We really found that rather than kind of packing in a bunch of, keynotes or sponsors or whatever, we really like to have this opportunity for people to just grab a lunch. We're doing boxes because that's the fastest way for people to just get something to eat and go sit down. And, people were sitting there, sketching on the back of an envelope the solutions to a problem that a client was articulating in the morning, right? So it's really getting them together very quickly. And we also have our famous written, our paper guides here that have space, has all the essential information and space for people to take notes right as they're listening, as well as a brand new event app. We're very excited about this. We've tried to do an event app the last two, worked with some apps that just didn't work out for us, but we're doing something really exciting, and I want to share that with you now. So what we've done is we're working with the people at SwapCard. And by the way, if you've seen something that looks like this before with these buttons and everything, that is SwapCard. So World Water Tech, Blue Tech, Capitol Hill Oceans Week. There's a number of folks that have been using this app or this platform for their event apps. But we've worked with them to figure out how to maximize the use of the virtual exhibits. So we've come up with a way that we can actually cover, include in the costs that are going to be covered by the pitch registrations, to have a virtual exhibit for every single pitching startup, right? And we're asking them to fill in these pieces here with, their incubators and accelerators, their past investment rounds, their key personnel, their markets, their major clients, the traction, what they've done already, right? And that's really valuable information, so where they're at, right? Of course, we also have the bios and all that information on the actual people. Make it very easy to find, very easy to search. We help them with their one-liners. We also are doing that for the reverse pitch presenters. Now, we've got these custom fields. We've got, for the customers, it's things like, what are your greatest water challenges? What kind of solutions are you looking for? What drivers and constraints? What's the process? Who do they talk to? And then for the investors and the accelerators, what are the things that they're looking? What's your investment thesis? What are your criteria for your incubators or accelerators or other programs? How do you make decisions, right? And by the way, I do want to point out, I'm going to move this up here. You must be present if you want to have a virtual exhibit. Please, please, please don't say, I'm not coming, but I just want to have the virtual exhibit. Can you set that up for me? This is solely for those people who are going to be in the room. Please remember, we have startups flying from all over the country, all over the continent, all over the world that are coming to meet you. So please do come to the event. If you cannot come in person, if you want to send another member of your team, if you want to send someone from your board, somebody who can speak on behalf of your organization, then we will reserve a spot for you. We will include you in the program. We will include you in the virtual exhibits. If you cancel, we're going to have to take you out, because we do want to have that focus on who's going to be actually present in the room. Okay, and then after the event, we also have some continued opportunities. Last year, we connected with, 56, we did 45 interviews with 56 speakers from the 2023 and 2024 events, all organized by, we had the reverse pitches in the morning and the pitches in the afternoon. Everyone was sorted into different categories. And we had over 300 people sign up for these, and lots of chat when these were released, so people were able to engage. And then we are also looking at taking this event app and creating a membership so that people can stay involved all year long, that people can post updates to their profiles and virtual exhibits of, when your next round of investment is, or when your next time that your applications are open for your accelerator, or whatever it is that you want to get out there, right? So if you have questions, please get in touch with me. There's the Calendly link there, calendly.com/Dr. Kat Schreier/WaterPitch preview, or just get in touch with me at kat@watercitizen.org, watercitizen@gmail.com. I know that there have been times when I've sent things out to people and they're not getting them because it's coming from my Gmail account. I apologize. You can also try reaching me on LinkedIn, Dr. Kat Schreier with the red dress, 202-344-7894. Or just go ahead and go over to waterpitch.org, click register or apply to reverse pitch, and go ahead and get your registration in there. We're in the process of switching, some of the registrations over from the website to the event app. But yes, please do come join us. We would love to see you there. And this is going to be exciting, high energy, high engagement. Really an opportunity to connect that you're not going to find at one of the big tech organizations, or and much broader than what you're going to find at, say, a demo day from some of the different accelerators. Really trying to bring together a one-stop shop, bring together the entire community, and we want you to be there. So go ahead to waterpitch.org, and we will see you there.